Hello, Infinity Streamers, and today we are going to be looking at how to make a free matte stinger transition using nothing but free software that's going to end up looking like this. So the very first thing we need to do is set up our project to do the matte stinger. To do this, go down to your project settings here, change your timeline frame rate to the frame rate you will be using. Now here's where it gets tricky. We need to make our resolution double because a matte transition is two videos side by side. In this instance, we're using 1920 by 1080. So we're going to double the 1920 to 3840. If you're using a different resolution, just double this first number, then click Save. Next, head on over to your media pool. Inside your media pool, go ahead and drag and drop in your logo. Right click, make a new fusion composition, name it Stinger or whatever you want, and change the duration to the duration you want. We're going to be using 2 seconds. Go ahead and right click again and make another fusion composition. We're going to call this one Matte and make it the same length. Next, head on over to your Fusion tab. Start by double clicking your stinger under your media pool. If the media pool is not shown, this is the show and hide right here. Double click it and you'll see media out pop up. We need to make 2 backgrounds. The background can be found right here. Go ahead and select your first background and change the color to your first color. We're going to be doing a red. Go ahead and select your second background and change the color to your secondary color. In our case, we'll be doing an orange. Next, grab the rectangle tool. It can be found right here. We're going to need 2 of these, one for each background. And go ahead and connect them up to your backgrounds. Starting with rectangle 1, we're going to put the rectangle in viewport 1 and the background in viewport 2. I'm going to close my media pool to give me a little more space. Now, on background 1, go to your image settings under your inspector tab. If you don't see your inspector tab, you can show and hide it with this right here. Click this checkbox, Auto Resolution, and change the width to 1920. If you're using a different resolution, change it to the resolution that we doubled when we set up the project. Change it to the original. Next, come over to your rectangle 1. Come over to Image. Change your output size to custom and do the same thing and change the width back down to 1920 or your original resolution. I'm going to zoom out on this so we can see better of what's going on. Next, we're going to manipulate the rectangle to give us that nice slanted bar. Using the circle, you can rotate it, grab the edges and shrink it down, and expand it out past the edge of the border. Go ahead and repeat these steps with rectangle 2 and background 2. So again, show them on the viewports. Select background 2, image, auto resolution, and change this to the original resolution. And same with the rectangle. Manipulate the rectangle. Shrink it down smaller than rectangle 1. Once you have it about the size you want, go ahead and grab the output of background 2 and connect it up to the output of background 1. This will create a merge node. Preview the merge node in your output. Here we can see that the ribbon does not line up properly, so we're just going to manipulate it until we get it just where we want it. Go ahead and make it a little bit smaller than your desired output because we will be actually expanding it in one of the other steps. Now in our preview window, we can see that this looks okay, but it doesn't have a lot of depth to it. To fix that, we're going to add some drop shadows. So in your nodes window, go ahead and push Shift Space, and it'll bring up your select tool. Search for drop shadow. Add 2 of these into our project. Once you have your 2 drop shadows, go ahead and grab the first one. While holding Shift, drop it over the output of background 1 and it will connect. Do the same with drop shadow 2 for background 2. As you can now see, it has more depth. If you want to manipulate the drop shadows, you can do so here in the inspector. We have the shadow shape, the drop angle, the drop distance, and the blur. Personally, I like to adjust the blur to give it more substance and the strength. I'm going to leave drop shadow 2 how it is. Next, let's add in our logo. From the media pool, drag and drop your logo onto your nodes. Open it in the left preview. Connect the output of your media to the output of the merge to get another merge node. Preview the merge node. As you can see, our logo is way too big, so we're going to add a transform. The transform is located right here. Go ahead and drag and drop it onto the line and decrease the size. Now we need to animate the ribbon. To do so, we're going to use another transform node in between merge 1 and 2. Select the transform node and go to the frame where you want the ribbon to stop in the middle. Since we're doing a 2-second, 120 frames, I'm going to go to frame 40. On frame 40, add a keyframe onto the center point. Go ahead and move forward the frame you would like it to start moving in. I'm going to do frame 80 and add another keyframe. Next, go to the very first frame. Zoom out on your preview window and increase the size of your transforms slightly so that the transform is bigger than the viewing area. Move the center point so that our ribbon is off the screen on the side you want to start the swipe from. Go to your last frame and move the center point off the other side, the side you want it to exit on. Go ahead and preview your animation. You may have noticed that the logo is actually staying on the screen the entire time. To fix this, take the output of your second transform and connect it into the effect mask of the Merge 2. Previewing again, you will see that the logo only appears when the ribbon is in the center. Next, we're going to add a little flare to the logo. To do so, in your nodes window, push Shift and Space again, and this time look up Light Rays and add it. Connect the light rays after the transform and before the merge on your media in. On the light rays node, select the position ray direction at an angle. Head to the frame where the ribbon pauses and go ahead and make a keyframe on the angle. Go to the frame where the ribbon starts moving again and change the angle to your liking so that it creates a swoosh motion. Go to the frame in the middle of the ribbon pause and keyframe the length and adjust the length to your liking. Head to several frames before the ribbon pause. I'm going to do 5 frames and bring your length all the way up. Repeat this after the ribbon starts moving again. So 5 frames after the ribbon starts moving again, length all the way up. Preview your light rays. Now, as you may have noticed, we can't see our ribbon anymore. To fix this, under the Light Rays Inspector tab, go to Settings and turn off the Alpha channel. Connect the output of the Merge 2 to your media out. This completes the Stinger side. Now we need to make the matte side. Under your media pool, double-click the matte. Again, we need 2 backgrounds. The first background, we want to leave it as black, and again, under the image, turn off auto resolution and change the width back down to what your original project settings were before you doubled it. In background 2, change the color to white and then adjust the width as well. Add a rectangle and connect it to background 2. Preview rectangle 1 and background 2. Select rectangle 1 and go to the image, output size custom, and adjust the width. Next, increase the rectangle height and length to encompass the entire screen. Rotate the angle about 90 degrees and ensure it still encompasses the entire frame. Head to your final frame and add a keyframe on the center point of the rectangle. Head to the frame where your stinger starts moving again and adjust the position so that the white takes up half the screen. You may need to adjust the angle, length, and width of the rectangle to get this just right. Head to the frame where your stinger stopped moving in the middle and add a keyframe on the center point. Head to the first frame and bring the rectangle completely off the screen. Connect the output of background 2 to the output of background 1. Preview your merge. Connect the output to your media out. Head on over to your Edit tab and drop the mat onto your timeline. Grab the stinger and drag that onto a separate video track on top of the mat. To preview it, use the arrow keys to step through one frame at a time. If you see white before you see the stinger, we need to adjust the mat. Right click on the mat and open in Fusion Page. Adjust the first frame of the rectangle to be further away. Head back over to the Edit tab and preview it again. As we're previewing this, we want to make sure that the black stays on this side and the white stays on this side. If you see white on this side, we need to adjust the mat backwards. And if you see black on that side, we need to adjust the mat forward. Once you're sure the white stays on one side of your transition and the black on the other side, go ahead and select your mat and change the position to 1920. If you're using a different resolution, this will be the width resolution. Click on your stinger and change the position to negative 1920. Upon previewing, you should see that the stinger is on the left half and the mat is on the right half. Head on over to the Deliver tab. Give it a file name and choose your location. On the format, we want QuickTime, codec, uncompressed, type, BGRA, and make sure you check Export Alpha. Add to render queue and render all. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch our video next week on how to make this dissolve stinger transition. And if you run into any trouble while you're working on your stinger, go ahead and join our Discord. Link is in the description below, and we will be glad to help you with any issues you run into. Actually, you know what? Just join the community anyway. We got free assets. We got a community. We help people grow. It's a great community all over, and we're actually working on doing community nights. So join. Link is in the description below. And lastly, be sure to convert this into a WebM format. The video description on how to do that should be pinned right up here. So go ahead and do that, and it will work a lot better in your OBS.